This is James Holder for iFL TV in association with Matthew's Jim Bar. We're at the press conference today for Terry Turbo Flanagan ahead of his world title challenge. With me, I've got promoter Steve Wood. How's that, Steve? All right?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, James. Yeah,
good. Well, I say, what a class job you've done with Terry Flanagan. You've took him from the small hall shows all the way up, built him up to big TV cards. He's now headlining fighting for a world title against a feeder. Credit to yourself and your organisation, mate.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, like he said, then it is a dream come true. And when he turned over, you know, if we'd have said we'd get a British champion out of Terry Flanagan, we was probably punching above our weight because he wasn't a great amateur. But what Terry's done, he's done everything right. You know, he's never missed a day of training. He's never moaned about what he does in training. He never moans about who he's sparring, who he's fighting, and he's just improved every single day over 6 years. And I think I'll finish hopefully with my first world champion on the 11th of July.
I mean, it's interesting because everyone you speak to, obviously they've got different favourites from the Manchester area, but Terry seems to be tipped as one of the top lightweights in the country. And as you say, from his amateur experience, from 6 years on to that progression, shows a great work rate from himself, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? He did start as a bantamweight, so he's been bantam, super bantam, feather, super feather. Obviously held a few titles at super feather. Went into the prize fight at lightweight, beat some good kids, Gary Sykes and Derry Matthews in that, and you know, even I think everyone in prize fight gets stuck on the matchroom shows after that, but they didn't want to do anything with him, so it was a few more fights on the VIP shows before Frank Warren's spotted him and said, look, we'll do something with him, and they have done. They managed to pull it off for us, and we're grateful because we didn't really want to go to America, and what Frank Warren's done really well, he's got it over here and right on his doorstep as well, so the atmosphere with all the loom pots from Ancoats is going to be amazing, and hopefully that can be the factor that means he wins. It could be the difference.
Credit to Frank Warren because he does go all out to get his fighters and the fighters he promotes home advantage, and sometimes it can be the difference between a fair decision and an unfair decision, can't it?
Yeah, massive. You know, we've seen people come over here, you know, on like a few of the Ricky Burns fights where we thought he'd lost and he's won, and you know, we go over abroad and to Germany and places and think we've won and we end up losing. So you know, it can be a difference, and you know, he's never made the weight, this kid, so he's got to come over here and do something, you know, weight wise he's never done before. And obviously his fights have only been in America and Mexico, all at home, so you know, it's him who's got to make all the changes, whereas Teddy's just going to do everything he's done before, and that's now has been a win, so let's hope it is on July the 11th.
I don't think you can underestimate how important it is for someone like Terry, who doesn't travel that much, who hasn't fought abroad loads and loads of times. It could be crucial having it in his own backyard, couldn't it?
Yeah, listen, we've all worked together to get it over there. You know, I spoke with Frank Warren about, you know, how much he was going to put in for the purse bid and what he can do, and we work with him. You know, at the end of the day, it's his money, and we're grateful that he's done it. But you know, we did work with him because it's a big difference, and we didn't really want to go over there. We could have gone over there for twice the money that we're getting here, but I think long term we've done the right thing.
I mean, you've got a great stable. We spoke about this before. Terry Flanagan on the cusp of fighting for a world title. Josh Warrington, British, European, Commonwealth champion. There must be other fighters in the stable that are not as high up as them coming through. Who would you say the next talent to kind of get mainstream note?
Well, listen, we've got some good fighters, and we bring them through quietly, you know, like we did with Josh and like we did with Terry. So we don't go shouting this kid's going to be the next one and all that. But we've got.
Is there anyone I should look out for in general?
Well, you know, Liam Taylor did really well, didn't he? Jumping in last minute and going 10 rounds with Tyrone Nurse. So you know, I think he'll come back and be a champion, definitely at British level. But you know, we've got quite a few. Jay Metcalf and Shane Aries, lads. A good kid, you know, he's only had 9, but you know, in about 4 or 5 fights he'll be fighting for certainly domestic titles, and obviously Luke Blackledge has come back and won a Commonwealth title on a small VIP show.
He's really turned it around, hasn't he?
He has, you know, and you know what, he just didn't do himself justice against Rocky Fielding, and people just look at that. He got beaten 1 round by Rocky Fielding, but he could have gone all the way. That, you know, he just turned his back, got hit in the back of the head, and you know, we've had to bring him back from that because promoters look at it and think, oh, you know, we've seen the best of him, but they haven't, and he'll come back, and we're already talking about a couple of TV fights for him, and again, no amateur experience, and become a Commonwealth champion, so you know, big ups to salute for what he did there.
Had a little time with Josh Warrington at the weekend at the boxing. Teethgate was involved. We saw Nick Manners' teeth go flying into the ring from about 80 yards, which was quite eventful. I want to talk a little bit about Lee Selby winning the world title. That obviously could be a potentially massive fight between him and your fighter, Josh Warrington. What's your willingness to make that fight? Is that something that's on your radar?
Well, it's not on the radar straight away because I think, you know, there's a bit of improvement for Josh Warrington before he fights Lee Selby. Lee Selby looked absolutely fantastic on Saturday night, but I don't know if he'll pull away from that and start unifying things.
Do you think he's good enough to do that, Selby? He could unify the division?
Yeah, you know, he'd take a very good fighter to beat Selby, and I know they are at that weight. You know, the other three champions are all special fighters, but I think he is as well. So I think we'll just do what we're doing with Josh, and if he's still a world champion come July next year, so in 12 months' time, it's an open air event at Ellen Road, and they'll both be extremely well paid, and I think that's what it's all about. But you know, we won't put Josh Warrington in the fight with Lee Selby unless we think he's ready to win it, and maybe at this moment he's probably not, but in 12 months' time he might be, because Selby's big at that weight, and you know, I'd like to see what he's like when he gets into rounds 10, 11 and 12, but you know, at the moment no one's really took him there under the pressure which Josh had put him under.
Mitchell Smith, potential fight. We've seen a lot of social media stuff between the two fighters.
Yeah.
What's your take on all this? And are you kind of into the Twitter generation? How do you think about it, Steve?
I go on the Twitter, and to be honest with you, I've told Josh not to bite into things like that. He should be above that. Now, Mitchell Smith's a young little kid who's beat a lot of noddies, and he's getting excited. So really and truthfully, I just said to Josh, don't lower yourself to his level. He'd fight him for £5. You know, that's how confident Josh is of beating Mitchell Smith. But let him do what he's doing. He's not even made featherweight yet. So if Mitchell Smith can make featherweight and get a few wins under himself, you know, let him force himself into a situation where Frank Warren and Eddie Earns can both bid for a big fight. Yeah?
All right. Well, listen, I'm looking forward to July the 11th. It's fantastic to see Terry get his shot, and hopefully Manchester will have a new world champion.
Yeah, let's hope so. It'll be good.
All right. Cheers, Steve. I'll catch you soon.
Cheers, James.
Cheers, mate.